Alright, so the school beauty runs through a storm just to sleep at his place. But he actually rejects her, and the next day, she is found dead. This setup is wild. Eaten by guilt, he joins the police force and obsessively hunts the killer. But the rain washed away all clues, leaving him empty-handed for 10 years. Then boom, a sudden lightning strike sends him back to that fateful night.
Classmate Goo, I heard your parents are away and you live alone.
Can I stay here for a bit? I can do chores to pay you.
Staring at her, he subconsciously reaches out just to touch her face.
Bai Wei instinctively flinches, but forces herself to stay still for help. That icy touch and her slight trembling prove one thing. She is actually alive and standing right in front of him. He really went back in time, and quickly apologizes. Startled, Bai Wei backs up and slips on the wet floor.
Gunan Cheng reacts instantly, catching her by the waist and pulling her straight into his chest.
With the storm raging outside, an absolute silence falls between the two of them. She completely freezes in his arms, too scared to move, so he quickly lets go. Stepping back, he tells her she looks way too cold. He apologizes, just wanting to warm her up. She softly replies she is fine as he steps aside to let her inside. And seeing her completely pale, bloodless face makes his mind race with dark memories of his past life. In his past life, the killer vanished completely right after the Xinghai crime. This time, he is not just saving her. His years of police experience are about to come in clutch. He is catching the real killer tonight. Meanwhile, Bai Wei stands nervously in the entryway. Nervously tugging at her wet clothes, she watches him turn around to find her some slippers.
She panics, stammering that her socks are totally soaked.
Worrying about dirtying his slippers, she says she can just go in barefoot. She even promises to mop the floor later. Honestly, a guy and a girl alone on a stormy night, that tension is crazy. Being completely soaked in this situation makes her incredibly anxious. She digs her nails deep into her palms, desperately forcing herself to keep it together. While his back is turned, she quickly scans the room. She quickly spots some warm tea on the coffee table, along with a pile of messy cardboard boxes. Only then do her tense shoulders finally relax as he hands her a dry towel. He tells her to use it, and she nervously asks if she can borrow dry clothes. She says her clothes are wet, and that is when he finally notices. Tightly clutching her soaked shirt, she clearly needs to change out of it. He tells her to get a hot bath before she catches a cold. The guest room has no tub, so he offers his own master bathroom. He leaves to run the water. Bai Wei completely blushes. Hearing the water splashing, she quietly stares at his busy back. She nervously calls him classmate Goo, but he instantly shuts that down, saying to just use his name. He asks why she thinks he hasn't questioned her yet. Surprised, she just nods. He says a gorgeous girl doesn't beg for shelter in a storm for no reason. She must have a tough excuse, and he won't force her. Our boy is a total gentleman. Pushing her any further would be rude, and hearing this, Bai Wei's eyes start to well up. He reads the room, gets up, and slowly walks right over to her. Suddenly, he leans in, trapping her against the wall with his hand right beside her ear. He asks her, wait, this is getting intense, if she is safe here. Asking if she is worried he will try something, while Bai Wei just bites her lip. She feels a sudden wave of warmth rushing through her, whispering that she trusts him. Her beautiful eyes stare right back at him with absolute confidence. This one response completely shuts down his chance to tease her any further. Plus, he still has things to do tonight. So he laughs, pulls his hand back, and tells her to go take a hot bath.
For her clothes?
This oversized shirt will basically look like a dress on her. Time to wash her wet clothes. After a quick spin in the dryer, they will be completely good to go. Bai Wei whispers a quick thanks before turning into the bathroom. That thank you was half for letting her stay and half for being so incredibly understanding and patient. Hearing the shower start, he smiles and heads out of the bedroom to brew some warm ginger tea. Soon, the door opens. Bai Wei steps out wearing his massive hoodie, her cheeks perfectly flushed rosy from the steam. Showing a glimpse of her soft skin above her knees, he tells her the slippers are ready. Stepping into those cozy slippers instantly melts away most of her shyness. The second she steps out, the sweet, comforting scent of honey ginger tea hits her. He walks over holding a warm mug, his eyes briefly catching the wide neckline of her hoodie. His throat tightens slightly. He gently offers her the warm ginger tea. Taking a slow, tiny sip, Bai Wei looks up. He asks if she wants some freshly made noodles. She asks if it is too much trouble, but he just scoffs at the idea.
It takes literally 2 minutes. He tells her to sit down while he adds 2 eggs.
But as he turns around, a small hand grabs his sleeve. She insists she can fry the eggs. They head to the kitchen. And honestly, our guy is a literal chef with the knife, leaving Bai Wei totally shocked as those tomatoes get sliced. Next comes the ham. Meanwhile, Bai Wei steps onto a little stool, reaching high for the eggs. As she stretches upward, the loose hem of her oversized hoodie rides up. Catching a quick glimpse from the corner of his eye, his face instantly turns bright red. Feeling his gaze, Bai Wei panics and tries to pull her hoodie back down. But she loses her footing on the stool, forcing him to quickly catch her from behind. His hand accidentally lands on her waist, and her body goes soft. She falls right back into his chest, the scent of sandalwood and citrus body wash completely blending together. Talk about crazy tension! Both of them just freeze dead in their tracks. Then the boiling pot bubbles over. He quickly pulls his hands back, stepping away to hand her the cooking spoon. Tell her to stir while he gets the eggs. Turning away, he sees his own bright red ears. Bro, it turns out he was never actually immune to girls all these years. There just had not been anyone else in his entire life capable of making his heart race. Blushing hard, Bai Wei focuses on stirring the noodles as the pan sizzles. Perfectly covers up the loud drumming of her own heart. Soon, a rich tomato aroma fills the room. He carries the hot bowls to the table, deliberately avoiding touching her trembling fingers. Watch out, it is hot! He tells her she can watch whatever she wants on television. The TV flickers on. Instantly, Bai Wei freezes, gripping her chopsticks. Oh God, it is actually playing adult videos he forgot to close. Talk about an absolute disaster. He lets out a super awkward cough. He quickly scrambles to the menu and plays Crayon Shin-chan. Smooth save. Wait, he forgot how paranoid he used to be about getting caught? He literally locked the school beauty out. Luckily, he is matured now. With years of thick-skin experience, he acts completely unbothered, heart rate dead flat. He quickly skips the video. She tries to change the subject. Complimenting his cooking, she smiles. He grabs a tissue. And then he gently wipes the tiny sweat beads right off her nose. The cold is out of her system. There is plenty left. She devours the noodles, polishing off every last drop of soup. Looking incredibly happy, he asks if she is full yet. Suddenly, a massive crack of thunder explodes outside. He whips his eyes to the clock, 9:57, just 30 minutes until her past murder. This time, he is absolutely going to unmask the killer. No time to waste. He needs to head to the crime scene right now. He grabs a glass of water and wraps her in a warm blanket. He tells her to just relax on the couch while he slips out. Just grabbing some quick late-night snacks. Be right back. She worries about the heavy rain, but he reassures her. But right at the front door, he stops dead in his tracks. What if the killer was tracking her and is already lurking outside his apartment? He strictly warns her not to open the door for anyone. I have my keys, no bell ringing. Hearing his intense tone, Bai Wei obediently nods like a precious little kitten. She snuggles tighter as the heavy front door clicks shut. Left all alone in the quiet, empty living room, she patiently waits. Opening his umbrella, he steps into the pouring rain and checks his watch. 9:58. The past forensic timeline is ticking. In his past life, she died around 10:30. His target tonight is clear. He is heading straight to the 24-hour convenience store on her old route. Back then, she borrowed an umbrella there before heading down that fatal dark alley. She is safe at his place now, but will the timeline still force things to happen? Bro, this is wild. What if the universe forces a substitute victim to die instead? He cannot let that happen. On the way, he pulls up his home security app. On screen, Bai Wei is just curled up peacefully, watching television. Seeing her completely safe inside, he starts sprinting through the heavy storm. But near the convenience store, a sudden, muffled groan echoes. A thin figure is curled up right by the alley trash cans. A bunch of local thugs are actively beating him up, demanding to know what he is hiding. The poor kid on the ground is desperately clutching a light gray handkerchief. A small tin box drops nearby. Wait, is that Yeezy?
He instantly recognizes the quiet, heavily bullied kid from his high school class.
As soon as he calls his name, the thugs violently spin around. Their faces instantly go pale because our MC's family actually holds insane power in Xinghai City. These low-life punks are usually terrified of him, and he doesn't even have to lower his umbrella. They scramble and run like they just saw a ghost, leaving nothing but the rain beating against the tin roofs. He kneels down, holding his umbrella steady over Yeetsi's head. He asks if he's doing okay and if he needs to go to the hospital. On his wrist, there's still a nasty burn scar from 3 months ago. But when our MC tries to help him up, the kid flinches back like he just got shocked. A metal tin clatters against the wall, spilling crayons and a half-empty bag of cat food into the mud. He mutters a quiet thank you while picking up his backpack, wet bangs covering the tear mole under his eye. That's when our MC notices something off. There are dark brown stains under the kid's left fingernails. It looks exactly like dried blood. Why on earth would anyone be out in a massive storm like this?
Just to feed some stray cats? Yixi only gives a quiet, mumbled response.
Suddenly, he starts coughing violently, his fragile shoulders shivering in the freezing downpour. Our MC throws his jacket over him, asking if his mom is out of town on another business trip. If he gets sick too, who is going to take care of his younger brother? But right at that moment, a memory of the security footage from his past life flashes in our MC's mind. Back then, Bai Wei was right outside the convenience store. She must have seen something happening that made her walk over to this exact alleyway. Looking at Yixi right now, our MC finally gets the whole picture. Bo Wei probably saw Yi Qi being tormented by those trashy thugs. All the puzzle pieces from his past life start falling into place. If Bai Wei actually left the store to stop the bullying, her being completely soaked in the pouring rain
Would have easily escalated their simple bullying into some disgusting harassment.
He recalls seeing Yi Qi on Monday in his past life, and his injuries back then were way worse than this. Yet he barely reacted to Bai Wei's death, which only means one thing. He probably fought like hell to hold those thugs back so Bai Wei could run away. If those punks did not kill her, then the real monster is still out there. This is wild. After putting it all together, he zeroes in on the absolute key clue, the murder weapon. Who on earth would carry a deadly pocket knife during a massive rainstorm like this? Whoever has that blade is the prime suspect. And wait, those 3 thugs might actually have it on them. He immediately regrets letting those scumbags walk away. But as for the beat-up Yixi, he survived until graduation in the original timeline, so he has to put him on the back burner for now. He tells him to head home if he's all right, turning on his heel to leave. But then he pauses, looks at Yixi's broken umbrella, and shoves his own black umbrella into his hands. "Take mine," he says. "Yours is completely trashed." He adds that he has to run, but warns him to stay safe. Tell him to hurry home, and before Yixi can even try to refuse, our MC is already bolting into the pouring rain, vanishing in a second. Since the downpour is completely insane, those 3 thugs could not have made it very far. They are hiding under a roof overhang, swearing up a storm and plotting their next move. They are debating whether to throw a bag over our MC's head and jump him, but his family's background makes them hesitate. While they are busy going back and forth, our guy is already closing in fast. He literally slides right in front of them out of nowhere, completely scaring the life out of the 3 punks.
They think he's there to extort them, so they start waving their hands and backing away.
He just smiles and asks his 3 friends to lend him something real quick. The trio look at each other with pure suspicion, but our MC reassures them. It's not money he is after. The 3 thugs stare in sheer confusion. Gu just stares right back. He flashes them a completely harmless smile. The punks freeze. They have no clue what he wants. Gangsters? Please. No knives? Seriously? His little bait works like a charm. The green-haired guy gets mad and pulls out a butterfly knife. He starts showing off his tricks, but Guy only needs one glance. No shot, this is the clean-cutting fruit knife from the forensics report. This thing is way too flashy. He offers $100 for a simple fruit knife. With cash on the line, the other 2 thugs scramble to show their weapons. One pulls a Swiss Army knife, and the other shows a cold military folding blade.
Neither of these is the murder weapon. Good blades, but not what he needs.
Too bad he only has $100. He ignores their suspicious looks. Leaving them cursing about being fooled, he turns and dives right back into the freezing rain. None of these thugs have the weapon. This lead is dead.
Anxiety burns in his chest. Honestly, the easiest way to solve this crime would be to reject Byway like last time and just tail her secretly.
That way, he could catch the killer red-handed at the actual crime scene.
But in this new life, seeing her safe and sound changed everything for him.
He couldn't risk her life. He'd rather search for a needle in a haystack.
There is absolutely no way he is letting her face any danger this time.
Returning to the convenience store for an umbrella, a kind clerk hands him a towel.
He quickly dries the rain off his face and thanks the clerk. Slipping his phone into a waterproof case, he recreates her exact moves. Matching her past life pace, he steps back out into the raging storm.
The moment he steps out, the heavy wind almost snaps his umbrella.
Trekking through mud and broken glass, he finally reaches the security camera blind spot. This is the exact crime scene mentioned repeatedly in the old forensic reports. His waterproof watch glows, 10:17 p.m. A violent gust of wind completely flips his umbrella inside out. He just tosses it, let the freezing rain pelt him. Vibrating in its case, his phone alerts him to check the cameras. Under the warm living room lights, Byway is curled up on the couch.
She keeps rubbing her feet anxiously, constantly staring at the front door.
Worry and hope fill her face. Just a little longer.
Hang in there. Suddenly, at 10:29 p.m., a metallic clanking echoes down the alley.
Gu instantly tenses up and sneaks over, only to spot a familiar face. It is Zhang Yan, the school bully. He is sitting under a canopy. He is peeling an apple with a fruit knife. Wait, could he be the killer? What are you doing out in this crazy storm without an umbrella, man? Just running some errands, Gu says. The wind broke my umbrella. How about you? Zhang Yan uses the tip of his knife. He lifts a bruised apple. Gu knows this guy's tough act is just fronting. In reality, his family is struggling and his mom is extremely sick.
I brought my mom some fruit, but she kicked me out, Jiang Yan sighs.
Guan spots white hospital plaster dust clinging to the edges of his boots. He still smells like the typical ICU disinfectant. But our main character is staring dead at the fruit knife in his hand. The details of this knife match the murder weapon from Byway's case perfectly.
Zhang Yan calls out, telling our guy to stop standing in the rain and get over here.
He offers to lend our protagonist an umbrella since his place is right nearby. But right as Gunan Cheng steps under the shelter, Zhang Yan's phone suddenly starts ringing like crazy. It is a nurse on the other end, frantically yelling that his mother's oxygen level is dropping fast. Zhang Yan's face goes pale, and the fruit knife drops straight into a puddle with a splash. He doesn't even say a word, just turns and sprints like a madman back into the pouring rain. Gunan Cheng bends down to grab the knife from the muddy water, feeling its ice-cold steel. After a quick, careful look, he completely confirms both the timing and the location. The size, the design, everything matches the murder weapon down to a T. This is the exact weapon used to kill Byway in his past life, meaning Jiang Yan accidentally dropped it. If that's true, the actual killer will probably pass by and grab it in the next 30 minutes. Knowing this, Gunan Cheng takes a deep, heavy breath. He tosses the knife back onto the ground and uses his years of detective experience to slip into the shadows. Now he waits as the relentless rain continues to pour.
At 10:35 p.m., a heavily drunk, stumbling homeless man staggers into the shelter.
He kicks over a stray can, and his muddy shoes accidentally step right on the knife. The blade gets stomped deep into the mud before the guy stumbles away with his half-empty bottle.
At 10:47, a delivery guy slams on his brakes, slips on the hidden knife, and takes a hard fall.
Swearing up a storm, he gets up and kicks the blade right into the gap of a drainage grate. Mud completely covers the weapon as the clock ticks closer to 10:55. At this point, finding this muddy knife by accident is practically impossible. We are just minutes away from the exact time Byway was murdered in the original timeline. Suddenly, a shady figure in a black raincoat and mask slips out from the end of the alley. Hunched over, this suspicious figure walks straight toward the spot where the muddy knife is buried. As he crouches down, our protagonist's entire body tenses up like a loaded spring. The moment the stranger reaches for the handle, his sleeve slips back, revealing his wrist. There is a massive, unmistakable acid burn scar right there. Our detective instantly steps out from the dark. Catching him under the faint streetlight, he finally gets a clear look at the killer's face.
Bro, what? It is actually Li Mingyuan, the beloved chemistry teacher from Xinghai High School. He is completely stunned. Just 3 months ago, this same guy did something heroic. He saved some rowdy students in the chemistry lab and got burned by acid in the process. He even comforted the kid who did it, and he's known as a totally gentle, obedient husband. Everyone loves him. But if this sweet, gentle teacher is actually the killer, then every single mystery makes sense. No wonder Bai Wei did not run when she was attacked in that dark alley. She didn't run because she trusted him completely. If a trusted teacher offered to share his raincoat and help her get home safely, offering shelter on such a terrifying night, any helpless student would let their guard down. Bai Wei never stood a chance. Realizing this, Gu Nanchang feels a deep, painful ache. But he can't just attack him right now. Technically, Li Mingyuan hasn't committed any crime yet. So he decides to use his detective skills to casually test why the teacher is out so late. Calling out his name, Li Mingyuan looks up and spots our thoroughly drenched detective standing there. His face instantly floods with surprise and warm concern, calling out Gu Nancheng's name. The teacher asks why he is so soaked, and he says the rain trapped him. But why is Mr. Li out in this downpour? Our MC stares closely, analyzing his face. And right there, he catches a quick flash of hesitation in the teacher's eyes. He claims he just came out to buy a pack of cigarettes. Total lie, because Li Mingyan does not even smoke. Plus, he is known as a perfect family man. He offers his spacious raincoat, telling him to squeeze in and head back to his place to dry off. He will even lend him the coat later, keeping that same warm, friendly smile. The MC just nods blankly and squeezes under the massive raincoat with him. Squeezed together, he notices the teacher's eyes darting toward an adult vending machine nearby. He quickly looks away and wraps an arm around the MC's shoulder. Walking home like a zombie, the MC finally arrives at the teacher's front door. Suddenly, Li Mingyuan shoots a quick text and claims he forgot his keys. He laughs it off, but the MC definitely felt something on him earlier. The keys were literally clipped to his waist, making this his second lie tonight. Suspicion is growing wild now. Then, after a tense moment, the wait ends. A door finally opens, and it is none other than Li Mingyuan's wife. Her name is Shen Qing, a school chemistry teacher, wearing a loose silk robe. Her belt is completely undone, and her face is heavily flushed. Through the warm entryway light, he spots a knocked-over wine bottle on the table. There are scented candles burning and fresh rose petals scattered everywhere. The romantic tension in the air is palpable, and then, boom, it hits him. The author cooked here because all the clues suddenly connect in the MC's mind. It makes perfect sense now. Mr. Li planned a romantic night with his wife, but they ran out of protection, forcing him into the rain to get some. Classic nice guy move. He decided to clear a clogged street drain on his way. That is how he found the knife, but then he ran into our MC. Too embarrassed to buy protection in front of a student, he escorted him home instead. He brought him here and that fake key text he sent earlier? Just a warning to his wife so she could quickly change out of her lingerie. Talk about a massive relief. Every single weird behavior is finally explained. She gasps at how soaked the MC is and apologizes for the mess. She hands over a towel and he thanks her as he dries off. But as he dries his hair, a much bigger question starts bothering him. If this teacher is actually just a wholesome, loving family man, a man whose wife was eagerly waiting for him to come home for some romance, would he really snap, assault a female student, and dump her body? No shot! Suddenly, Shen Qing notices the filthy knife still gripped in her husband's hand. She asks where on earth he found such a disgustingly dirty weapon. He says he found it blocking a street drain surrounded by trash. He forgot to toss it after meeting Gu Nanchang, tossing it toward the trash. But wait, the MC spots something off and quickly tells him to stop. Asking to see the knife, Li Mingyuan turns it around, looking totally confused. He hands it over, safety first, blade facing inward, handle pointing outward. This tiny, wholesome detail proves he really is a gentle soul to his core. He takes a closer look at the fruit knife, and his face instantly drops. It was too dark earlier to notice, but the blade actually has tiny chips. Jiang Yan must have used it to cut something hard, but the forensics report is clean. It never mentioned any chips, which means the wound shapes would be completely different.
Plot twist? This means the actual murder weapon was never this knife. He targeted the wrong guy. He quickly flips his wrist to check his watch. It is already 11 p.m., meaning the real killer might only be showing up now. Panicking, he shoves the towel back into Shenqing's hands. He apologizes to Teacher Li, saying it is late and he needs to rush. He borrows his raincoat and pushes the knife handle back to Li Mingyuan. Throwing the coat on, he dashes straight into the heavy storm back to the scene. He searches the area over and over while a few hurried pedestrians pass by.
But none of them look like they would stop to commit a cold-blooded murder.
By 11:30 p.m., the streets are dead silent, so he checks his phone. On the screen, Bai Wei is curled on the couch, nodding off completely exhausted. Yet she is fighting her exhaustion, trying her best to stay awake. She keeps looking at the door, waiting for him. He clenches his fist. Deciding to throw off the raincoat, he keeps wandering around the pitch-black scene. Midnight passes, but there is still no sign of anyone suspicious out there. A deep sense of helplessness and chilling dread begins to creep over him. Did he really miss his only shot? The clock ticks past midnight. Still, not a single soul appears, and his chest grows heavier. That freezing dread returns. Is he really too late to save her? If he cannot find the killer, Bai Wei will never get her justice. He looks up, letting the freezing rain pour directly onto his face. His resolve only hardens. Suddenly, his phone begins to vibrate in his pocket. He checks the camera feed. Bai Wei is practically half asleep by now. But she forces herself to face her fears, pacing by the door, worried. His sudden voice startles her, and she immediately looks up at the camera. He tells her it is Gunan Cheng. He got held up but is coming back. If you are tired, go to sleep first, she sighs, as long as you are safe. She insists that she is not tired and will wait up for him. He forces a warm smile and promises to be home right away. She drags her exhausted body back to curl up under her blanket. She looks a bit relieved now. Meanwhile, looking at the empty streets, standing in the storm, he lets the freezing water wash over him. The cold helps him think as he frantically retraces tonight's events. First, there is the convenience store clerk, Yi Zi, and those 3 thugs. He puts everyone on his suspect list. Yi Zi was robbed, his backpack emptied. There was absolutely no money on him, let alone a murder weapon. That rules out Yi Zi. What about the thugs? They have motives, but their weapons do not match. The delivery driver and homeless guy are out too. None of their blades fit. Once you eliminate all the impossible options, only one person remains, someone he thought was completely innocent, Zhang Yan. Zhang Yan dropped his knife while rushing to the hospital for his mother. But if his mother's condition stabilized quickly, half an hour is plenty of time to run back and forth from the hospital. What if on his way back he suddenly realized his knife was completely missing and decided to stop by a nearby shop to buy a brand new fruit knife? The files actually show that between 10 and 11 p.m. that night, someone did buy a fruit knife in the pouring rain. And his return timing happened to perfectly avoid both me and Teacher Li during our visit. Putting this entire timeline together, the dots are starting to connect. Zombie's suspicion instantly skyrockets, and testing this crazy theory of mine is actually going to be super simple. Just go knock on Zhang Yan's door right now. If he is already back home and really went out and bought a new knife, then his guilt is basically set in stone. Following my memory back to his neighborhood, my heart suddenly begins to completely sink. The lights in his house are actually on. I take a deep breath. I knock. The door swings open. Zhang Yan is standing there completely shirtless with a towel over his head. He is like, "Old Goo, what the hell? Why are you not home yet?" "Where is that raincoat from?" I step inside. My eyes instantly lock onto a brand new fruit knife sitting on the table. The mysterious person in the files who bought a knife in the storm? It is really him. I tell him Teacher Li lent it to me, then ask if he just got back. Yeah, my mom had some issues earlier, he says, and I was in such a rush I forgot to lend you an umbrella. But why are you out so late anyway? Do you just enjoy wandering around in the pouring rain? I mentioned that he ran off so fast earlier that he dropped his knife. And ask why he bought a new one. He gasps. Oh crap, no wonder I could not find it in my pockets. When I say Teacher Li threw it away, he just shrugs. Well, whatever then. That old knife was chipped from cutting wood anyway, so I just grabbed a new one on my way back, he laughs.
My heart completely sinks. His timeline matches the crime perfectly, and there is no way to ignore this.
On top of that, he bought the exact same weapon. There is no way I can clear him. I carefully choose my words, deciding to test Zhang Yan directly.
Are we friends? He scoffs at the question, saying that is insulting.
We are literal brothers, he says, then asks if I ran into some trouble. He tells me to just lay it on him. Seeing how loyal he is, I look him dead in the eye and say I never want to see him get locked up.
Think of the consequences.
Your mom needs you to take care of her, so do not do anything illegal.
Zhang Yan freezes. He completely misunderstands what I'm actually trying to say. He thinks I found out about his secret plan to sell fake cigarettes at school.
Instead of getting mad, he is deeply touched that I walked through a storm to stop him. Do not worry, he says. Others might not know how I operate, but you definitely do. I will not do it. Seeing that my warning worked, I just nod. Stepping out to leave, I have absolutely no idea that this accidental warning would make him completely give up on his plan to sell fake cigarettes. As I walk back out into the pouring rain, he literally beats his chest behind my back. He silently vows right then and there that I am his absolute brother for life. I walk away with incredibly mixed feelings, holding Teacher Lee's borrowed raincoat in my hands. Sneaking back to her front door, I leave the raincoat there. Inside, some pretty spicy sounds are coming through the door, making my heart race. So he slips away without making a sound, walking all the way home in the pouring rain. But his mind is actually pretty calm. If Zhang Yan really is the killer, he might still be saved. Stopping that evil intent before it even starts is key, especially after meeting so many suspects tonight. Zhang Yan is easily his prime suspect. By the time he gets back, it is past midnight. As the door clicks open, Bai Wei, who was half asleep under a blanket, snaps her eyes open. The second she sees him, her face lights up and she rushes over. But getting closer, she realizes he is completely drenched, like a drowned rat. She asks how he got so wet just grabbing a quick late-night snack. He admits the wind was insane, broke his umbrella, and blew the food right away. So there is no food, but she tells him to get into a hot shower immediately. Otherwise, he is definitely catching a cold. Seeing her look so worried about him, he just smiles. The guest room bed is just a hard board, so she might have to crash on the couch. Or they could always share. She quickly blushes and claims the couch. He laughs it off, telling her he was just teasing and she is getting the bed. But first, he needs a bath so he does not drip water all over his clean floor. Right there in the living room, he starts stripping off his soaking wet clothes. Hearing the rustling, Bai Wei looks up and his toned physique instantly makes her heart race. Her face burns up and she is so flustered she cannot even make a sound.
He tells her he's heading to the bath and will call her when he is done.
Clueless to her panic, he just grabs his wet clothes and heads into the bathroom. Bai Wei nods like a robot, and once she hears the shower start, she melts onto the couch, holding her burning cheeks. She is low-key losing it. After a while, he walks out wrapped in just a towel. He goes to wake her up, but finds her curled up like a little kitten, fast asleep on the sofa, breathing softly and peacefully. He quietly walks over and kneels down, just watching her sleep. Honestly, seeing her alive and breathing peacefully here, that hits so deep. He reaches out to brush a stray hair from her face, but water from his arm drips right onto her lips and she unconsciously licks it. That startles him so bad he pulls back, just as thunder cracks outside. Bai Wei suddenly tosses and turns, kicking the blanket off. He reaches out to grab it, but his hand accidentally brushes her warm ankle. He can feel it instantly. Her steady breathing suddenly skips a beat, and her eyelashes start trembling. She is definitely awake, but she is pretending to be asleep. He does not call her out on it. Instead, he scoops her up, blanket and all, and carries her to the bedroom. She is incredibly tense as he gently lays her down. He tucks her in with his own comforter, then leans down close to her ear. His warm breath tickles her, making her instinctively shrink back. He just smiles, whispers goodnight, and slips out, closing the door. In the dark, Bai Wei finally opens her eyes. For those few short steps, her brain was completely short-circuiting from pure panic. But that sweet good night was everything. She pulls the blanket up, hiding her blushing face. Snuggling into the sweet scent of body wash on the sheets, he finally sleeps, without curling up in fear for once. Instead, he stretches out comfortably under the blankets and drifts into a deep sleep until the next morning. The heavy storm from last night finally lets up, and a fully rested Bai Wei wakes up early. She changes into her freshly dried clothes, completely ready to pay him back with chores just like she promised. She gets straight to work and cleans Gu Nancheng's bedroom until it is absolutely spotless. But as she tiptoes out of the room, she suddenly freezes in place because he was just too exhausted last night. He had just wrapped a towel around himself, thrown on a blanket, and passed out cold on the sofa. He is sleeping with his back to her, but that towel? Yeah, it is definitely not where it is supposed to be. It slipped right onto the floor, and poor Bai Wei's face instantly blushes bright red. Talk about an awkward morning. Desperate for a distraction, she quickly grabs ingredients from the fridge and starts cooking up some fresh sandwiches.
And heating up some milk.
But her mind is playing tricks on her, and she just cannot stop thinking about the scene. That incredibly embarrassing view from earlier. Just as she sets the food down on the table, things change. Gu Nancheng finally starts to wake up on the couch. Still half asleep, he is totally out of it. He instinctively reaches for his holster out of pure habit, but his hand only touches the cold glass coffee table. Pushing himself up, he expects the usual sharp pain from that old shoulder injury he got chasing bandits. But there is absolutely zero pain. Rubbing his temples, he frowns and pulls back the towel to look. What he sees next completely breaks his reality. All those brutal combat scars are completely gone, replaced by a flawless, healthy, youthful body. It hits him all at once. He is a regression main character now, back 10 years in the past. He whips his head toward the open bedroom door, his heart skipping a massive beat. Only when he spots her busy figure in the kitchen does he finally sink back onto the sofa. Letting out a huge sigh of relief, he realizes this is not a dream. She actually survived that terrible stormy night. Remember, our guy was a detective in his past life. He carried nothing but guilt and exhaustion, never getting to enjoy a single day of his youth. But now she is alive, and he has a real shot at enjoying his youth. He vows to live this life right. Just then, she calls out, "Gu Nancheng, breakfast is ready." I hope it tastes all right. Bai Wei peeks her head out from the dining room with a gentle smile. He sits up as the delicious scent of fresh bread and warm milk fills the room. Saying he will be right there, he walks over to find her sitting patiently at the table. He tells her she does not have to wait for him next time.
She says it is fine since they will wash dishes together anyway and asks him to try it.
If it needs work, she will fix it next time. He tells her this is good enough to open a restaurant. He could handle the cash register while she cooks. He adds that he used to be quite independent before. But living with her might actually make him lazy. Bai Wei giggles, cupping her face with a bright, beautiful smile.
He takes a bite of the sandwich, tasting the warm egg and melted cheese.
It tastes incredibly good, and the chemistry here, absolutely top tier. He grabs a napkin and gently wipes a bit of oil off the tip of her nose, making her blush instantly. Shyly, she looks down to stir her milk. After they finish, he reaches to clear the table. But his fingers brush against hers. Her hand is soft, yet surprisingly cold to the touch. Bai Wei insists on doing everything herself, moving quickly and efficiently. She leaves the kitchen completely spotless, but the moment she steps back out, things happen. She starts looking around for more chores. He immediately grabs her small hand to stop her. Our boy Nancheng literally forces her onto the couch because she looks totally exhausted. He tells her she's banned from working because he's the boss now. Basically, she has to rest or he's going to kick her out. Bai Wei gets totally flustered by his threat and obediently nods along. He wants to buy her new clothes, but she instantly gets hesitant. She tries to refuse, but he insists on covering the bill himself. He teases that she can just work it off as his housekeeper. And if she can't pay him back, he's never letting her leave. Bai Wei feels a sudden warmth, realizing he actually wants her to stay.
She finally smiles and softly asks where they're going to shop.
but she mentions a cheap second-hand store where 50 yuan buys a whole outfit. She quickly adds that she sanitizes everything by boiling it 3 times. Her voice is so quiet, fearing he'll look down on her.
Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking, so he immediately takes her somewhere better.
He grabs her hand out of nowhere, causing her to stumble.
She bumps lightly into his back, but doesn't pull away at all.
She just lets him lead her right to a local tailor shop.
The cozy little store is filled with retro music playing inside. But looking at the expensive displays, Bai Wei immediately gets anxious. She nervously tugs on his sleeve, feeling way out of her element. She whispers that it looks too pricey, but he says the owner is his mom's friend.
He reassures her they do student rates, so they're safe.
They walk inside, greeted by the warm scent of fresh cotton. Aunt Shui looks up and immediately spots their locked hands. She smiles warmly, gushing over how gorgeous Bai Wei is. And when she asks if Nan Chang brought his girlfriend, Bai Wei blushes furiously. Sensing her panic, Nan Chang gently lets go of her hand.
He asks Aunt Shu to help her pick some seasonal outfits and undergarments. He requests pure cotton, and Aunt Shu playfully pulls her behind the curtain.
The dressing room curtain only covers her neck down, making her feel super exposed.
She shyly tries to shrink back, feeling his gaze on her.
Nan Chang sits by the window, distractedly flipping through a catalog. But the playful teasing from behind the curtain drifts right over to him. Aunt Shu is literally pushing the lace set, saying girls should please themselves. She says she should just wear whatever makes her feel good. Plus, she teases that this set will absolutely drive Nan Chang crazy. It's a total win-win if they both love it.
Bai Wei wants to explain they aren't dating, but the words get stuck.
Ultimately, she just blushes and nods as they finish choosing. Aunt Shui hands her more clothes, and the rustling sounds make things pretty tense.
Outside, Nan Chang is low-key sweating as his imagination runs wild.
He's busy picturing her in those outfits when the curtain suddenly flies open.
She twirls around nervously, asking if it looks weird on her. Bro, the morning light hits her so perfectly, she looks absolutely ethereal.
Nan Chang gulps hard and steps forward to fix her collar. An accidental wrong button leads to his fingertips brushing her skin. He instantly yanks his hand back.
He plops a straw hat on her to hide his panic, making the owner smirk.
The curtain pulls back to reveal a semi-transparent outfit. The morning light perfectly highlights her curves, and honestly, our main character cannot take his eyes off her.
Shu Yi's elite taste means every single outfit fits like a glove.
But she is getting way too carried away, so he has to stop her.
Seriously, stop.
He warns her his card is maxing out.
She tells him to get his mom to pay, teasing that they probably already sealed the deal.
He begs for mercy, getting a 90% discount. She packs the lingerie separately and whispers a teasing remark.
She says her figure is an absolute 10.
His ears turn bright red as he quickly hands over his card. Out of the corner of his eye, he spots Bai Wei admiring some beautiful lace sleepwear by the window.
She looks so youthful under the sun, but suddenly,
the tragic image of her dead body and the heavy rain from his past life suddenly flashes in his mind. Clenching his fist, he makes a silent promise. He swears to protect her with his life this time. Now, only the bedding is left. He walks ahead with the shopping bags while she trails behind.
She sneaks a look at him, her mint green skirt peeking from the bag.
The delicate lace flutters in the wind as they ride the escalator up to the 4th floor.
He tells her to pick whatever she likes.
They look like a cute couple, and she is feeling both sweet and nervous. The warm lights of the bedding shop make everything look incredibly cozy. He pushes the cart as she shops. It feels like they are newlyweds, but she worries the items are too expensive. He tells her not to worry, tossing a premium silk blanket into her arms. She just smiles softly. But the moment he looks away, she sneakily puts the expensive silk blanket back. Instead, she grabs a cheap, washed cotton blanket, claiming she likes the texture. He calls her out immediately. Realizing she is just being budget conscious, he stands up and playfully taps her forehead. He insists that good bedding is essential, especially since she is moving out of the guest room. We can save the cheap stuff for guests anyway. His double meaning completely throws her off. While she stands there frozen, he tells her to try a mattress. Without waiting, he gently pulls her onto the fluffy bed.
He places a memory pillow under her head. His hand lightly supports her waist as she sinks into the soft sheets with blushing cheeks.
The whole atmosphere is filled with pure sweetness.
With the shopping done, she stares at the silk blanket in their cart.
She whispers a soft thank you, but he suddenly stops.
Bumping straight into his broad back, he tells her to never say thank you again in this lifetime.
Actions speak louder than words, so before you even think about paying me back. She warns him he absolutely cannot get hurt. He is totally dazed by this.
But he obediently nods anyway, and she tells him it's time to head home.
After paying and leaving their address for delivery, she grabs the shopping bags and brings them home.
Passing by a shop on the corner, the sweet aroma of hot osmanthus rice cakes fills the air.
She buys a piping hot rice cake, blows on it, and holds it right to his mouth.
He takes a bite, getting sweet syrup on his lip, so she naturally wipes it away with her thumb.
She asks if it's good, and he softly says it's sweet.
She promises to take him to the local food street next time, where there are way more snacks.
Hearing her words, he just stares at her back with this incredibly soft, devoted look in his eyes.
Little does she know he has actually been holding on to something for years.
He still remembers their childhood promise from the park. Soon, they get home with all the toiletries.
And the new bedding is already delivered. She gets down on the guest room floor to put on the covers,
While Bai Wei stands there clutching a new pillow, softly offering to do it instead.
She jokes that she'll handle it, otherwise he might accidentally sew himself right into the blanket.
She shakes out the fresh sheet and suddenly drapes it right over his head like a ghost.
She tells him that now this entire bed and this whole room belong to him.
He can stay for as long as he wants. Honestly, this simple gesture
Instantly hits him deep in his soul, and he abruptly turns away. She immediately senses the shift in the air, a heavy wave of emotion filling the room.
His shoulders are trembling as he silently weeps, probably feeling safe for the first time in his life.
This is his first real taste of having a home. To ease the heavy mood,
She deliberately teases him, telling him not to get all emotional just yet.
she is still charging him rent, so he better start figuring out how to pay off his debt.
Hearing this, Bai Wei wipes his tears and turns around to face her.
His eyes are still a little red, but he flashes her the most brilliant, warm smile.
It is genuinely heartwarming. Right after she finishes helping Bai Wei settle into his new room,
She collapses on the couch for a quick breather when the doorbell suddenly rings out of nowhere.
Bai Wei flinches and takes a step back in sheer panic.
But remember, after surviving her past life,
our main character's nerves are already fried, and she refuses to let her guard down for a second.
she is absolutely terrified that the killer hiding in the shadows might be standing right outside.
She springs up instantly, pushing Bai Wei behind her to shield him from whatever is out there.
As Dr. Chen, she desperately shields him, though he finds her extreme protectiveness a bit too intense.
Bai Wei is clearly surprised, but a sweet, warm feeling secretly washes over him.
She creeps up to the peephole like she's going into battle, only to see Jiang Yan standing outside. He is her prime suspect right now, but in her past life,
Jane Yan never once showed up at her apartment today. The timeline has completely shifted.
this sudden, unannounced visit instantly triggers her alarm bells. She is on absolute high alert. Forcing her racing heart to calm down, she opens the door and asks Jiang Yan what he's doing here.
He smiles and asks if he needs an excuse to visit her. He mentions how bad the storm was last night.
And since she got completely drenched, he was worried she'd catch a cold.
He even asked his mom to teach him how to brew a warm herbal soup to bring over.
Staring at the warm thermos in his hands, she suddenly realizes she caused this whole thing. Her running out in the storm to warn him last night actually touched him.
Triggering this unexpected butterfly effect. Looking at this seemingly perfect guy in front of her,
When your resident bad boy bro suddenly shows up with hot ginger tea, how do you even react? He really was feeling a massive headache, so drinking 2 bowls while it was hot was perfect.
but as Jiang Yan steps inside, he suddenly spots Bai Wei hiding right behind our main character.
The guy completely freezes, his eyes darting back and forth between the two of them.
Oh, you know him. Got it. Hello, sister-in-law.
Looks like I crashed the party, he laughs. Drink this ginger soup while it is still hot. It is super healthy for her too. Anyway, I have to go tend to my mom at the hospital. Before they can even say a word, Jiang Yan bolts out the door. Watching that simple, bright guy run off, our main character is left feeling totally conflicted. It is honestly so hard to believe that someone this incredibly loyal to his friends
could actually be the brutal killer, and he desperately wants to prove his friend innocent.
He is literally praying they find another suspect to clear his friend's name once and for all.
Baiwei stares at the door, admitting everyone always called Zhang Yan the school's worst bully.
But now he does not look like that at all. Well, never judge a book by its cover.
The guy has his own painful past, and things are rarely as simple as they seem on the surface.
Opening up the thermos, the rich, sweet scent of warm ginger immediately fills the room.
He pours out 2 bowls, handing one over to her so she can drink up.
She got absolutely soaked in the rain last night, and her health is looking pretty weak lately.
Drinking this will help, and as the warm, sweet soup slides down her throat, a cozy warmth spreads through her, and she admits she only ever heard bad rumors about him.
Who knew he was actually so nice? But our guy notes it is just life forcing his hand.
He did not choose this path, and hearing those 4 words, forced by life,
Baiwei's face suddenly goes completely dark. Clearly, those simple words hit a massive nerve. They deeply trigger her own painful, tragic past. And when it comes to her family situation, our main character only knew the bare minimum when he investigated her murder back then. He tried tracking down her parents back then, but got absolutely nothing out of them. Her parents had divorced and remarried, leaving her to grow up solely with her mother. This makes him absolutely certain that on that fateful, rainy night in his past life, Baiwei seeking shelter at his place was definitely caused by her toxic family. Back then, neighbors revealed that she ran out into the pouring rain that night, all because of a massive fight with her stepfather where she allegedly stabbed the man. But when our guy went to question them, they straight up denied everything.
They claimed the stepfather just slipped on a wet floor and accidentally fell,
landing right onto the knife his wife was using to peel apples. Yeah, right. They also blamed Baiwei, saying the fight started over a boy's photo on her phone. He supposedly just lectured her a bit, and shortly after, she fled the house.
The family headed to the hospital, which security footage actually confirmed.
This completely cleared them, but here is the thing. When her death was announced,
the stepfather did not care at all, while her mother immediately fainted.
She literally lost her mind after that. But what is even more heartbreaking
is that the investigation showed she actually went to her biological father's house first. But she was kicked out almost immediately, walking away with her head hanging low. She looked completely shattered, and on that terrible, stormy night, she was rejected by both of her families before finally showing up at our main character's door. Honestly, it is terrifying to think what was going through her mind when she knocked. Every single time Gu Nangcheng remembers the absolute crushing despair from his past life, regret completely drowns him like a tidal wave. But thankfully, the universe gave him a regression cheat code to fix his mistakes.
Gu Nangcheng is never letting go of her hand again, bringing some warm milk over to the sofa.
Baiwei is quietly reading a book in the corner, the golden light framing her fragile silhouette. Suddenly, he notices she's subconsciously rubbing the inner side of her left wrist. Right where a pale pink crescent scar lies, he hands her the glass, telling her he added honey. He gently presses the warm glass into her palms just as she is about to thank him. But she remembers his strict rules and quickly swallows her words as the sweet milk aroma drifts around them. That is when he notices she is actually staring at a book he casually left on the shelf. Gu Nangcheng playfully asks if she wants to be a psychic, and she jokes right back.
She promises to read his fortune with a cute, playful smile, but right as they chat,
a loud screeching car brake suddenly echoes from outside the window, and Baiwei instantly freezes up in absolute terror. The warm milk almost spills everywhere, but Gu Nangcheng immediately grabs her trembling hand to reassure her. After making sure everything is perfectly safe outside, he sits back down right next to her. Holding her hand, he gently tells her not to worry because she still owes him a massive debt. Until that debt is fully paid off, absolutely nobody is allowed to take her away from him. Hearing this fiercely protective promise, the startled girl feels her heart beating faster and louder than ever. He says once she learns, she should calculate if they are romantically compatible. Gu Nangcheng jokes he is worried she might curse her creditor, making Baiwei blush instantly. Her cheeks turn bright pink because little does he know, she already secretly checked their charts. This ship is sailing. They are a perfect match.
Changing the subject, he asks about her college plans and says he has ideas.
He has not decided yet, but she says her own dream is simple.
She wants to major in whatever he chooses, teasing him that since he owes her so much, if she does not follow him around, she might lose her entire investment if he decides to run.
Bai Wei gently stirs her warm milk with a spoon, looking straight into his smiling, affectionate eyes.
A bittersweet warmth fills her chest as she reveals she hopes to apply to Jin University. Or study psychology at Kyoto Medical. Honestly, getting into either of those elite schools is insanely difficult. He wonders why she chose psychology, as terrifying memories of her mother going completely insane flash through his mind. Could her mother have suffered from a mental illness all along? Bai Wei opens her mouth to explain. In the end, she says nothing, but he agrees it is a great choice. It will definitely help build her mental resilience, and she fiercely vows to study as hard as possible. Gunan Cheng immediately offers to tutor her, leaving her staring at him in complete and utter shock. His grades right now are strictly average in class, while she is a straight-A student near the top. He asks if she looks down on him, but she immediately exposes his lie. She points out that whenever he lies, he avoids eye contact and stumbles over his words.
Hearing this, Gunan Cheng realizes she has actually been secretly paying super close attention to all his habits. A sweet rush of joy completely overcomes her heart, beating the warm, honeyed milk. To prove his skills, he grabs a massive book of mock exams and breezes through several pages in a matter of seconds.
In his past life, he studied like an absolute madman just to enter the police academy. Determined to hunt down her killer, he had pushed his brain to the absolute limit. These high school questions are literally engraved into his soul. Seeing his secret, god-tier genius academic skills in action? Bai Wei's eyes light up with pure admiration, realizing she now owes him even more tutoring fees.
She cutely asks him what she should do if she can never afford to pay him back.
Gunan Cheng pulls out a pen and paper, jokingly telling her to sign a lifetime contract instead. It was supposed to be a light-hearted joke, but she surprisingly takes the pen without any hesitation. She bows her head and starts writing seriously, while he wonders what she is going to write. But all Bai Wei writes on the paper is an indentured service contract and contractor, along with her name, leaving a massive blank space right in the middle of the page. She hands the paper back with a gorgeous smile, telling her new creditor to fill in the terms. He jokes about having total power over her, but she playfully asks what service her master prefers. She gives him a mischievous wink, calling him her creditor. Suddenly, he leans in incredibly close, letting his warm breath brush softly against her ear, making her skin tingle as he whispers that he does not need any service. Instead, he gives a strict command for tonight, making her instantly tense up. Bai Wei nervously gulps in anticipation, only for him to demand she go to sleep by 10 p.m. And she cannot wake up before 7 because he is personally cooking breakfast. She looks at him in complete disbelief. Honestly, this wholesome moment is such a heartwarming payoff. With a bright smile, she happily promises to obey her master. When night falls under his strict but caring orders, Bai Wei obediently heads to bed. He brings her a warm glass of milk, telling her it is fine to lock the door. As he walks out, she looks at the doorknob but decides not to lock it. Talk about trust. Back in his own bedroom, he finally lets out a massive sigh of relief. In his past life, he buried himself in dangerous police work to escape his guilt. He even rejected the quiet office desk job his mentor arranged, absolutely terrified that any idle moment would bring back her tragic memory. But now, reborn 10 years in the past, he successfully saved her. What an incredible payoff! And he is finally free from his eternal nightmare after some deep self-reflection. He drifts off into a deep sleep, dreaming of a quiet corner in a childhood park. A beautiful, doll-like little girl is sitting there crying, and a young Gunan Cheng asks why such a big girl is weeping. She insists she is not crying, but he gently asks if the other kids bullied her. He promises to go make them apologize, but she quickly pulls him back, saying it has nothing to do with them. Little Gunan Cheng pulls out a clean handkerchief prepared by his mother to gently wipe away her tears. She asks why he is staring, so he silly faces his reflection in a nearby puddle. This sweet gesture cracks her up, and he proudly introduces himself as Gunan Cheng. He tells her he plays here all the time, welcoming her to find him whenever she is sad. But as his mother calls out his name, the little boy has to run off. Suddenly, the alarm clock blares, jolting him awake as he snaps his eyes open. He mutters to himself, wondering why he would dream of his childhood. Meanwhile, at the exact same time,
Bai Wei is also trapped in that same park dream? Wait, they are childhood friends? This changes everything.
In the dream, the little boy tells her not to cry, sharing that both of his parents left him too. Yet he did not shed a single tear, leaving little Bai Wei completely amazed by how strong this boy was.
She suddenly wraps her small arms around him, trying to comfort him instead.
When she asks how he survives, he calmly replies that he just lives with his grandparents. He believes his parents will return once they finish their work, but she deeply fears her father will find a new family. She is terrified that she will be completely abandoned by everyone. The little boy wipes away her tears once more and holds her hand tightly.
he happily invites her to his house, bragging that his home is pretty big.
He mentions his parents always wanted a daughter anyway, meaning they could easily become a real happy family together.
This sweet, innocent promise makes little Bai Wei burst into a heavy flood of tears.
She realized there was a place where she belonged, but tragically, he never came back to the park after that.
She ended up leaving a heartfelt note full of gratitude, hiding it right where they always used to meet.
At the very end of her dream, Bai Wei watches him walk away. Tears fill her eyes before our guy even knocks on her door. He wakes Bai Wei up, over at the dining table.
He prepared a warm bowl of red date porridge to nourish her.
Watching her sip the hot soup like a scared little kitten is so wholesome, but she catches him staring.
He admits that she reminds him of a little girl from his past.
They only played together for 2 weeks before she moved away. Bai Wei asks if she ever said goodbye, triggering his old memories. No proper goodbye at all. He only found a tiny, torn note. The heavy rain had completely soaked and ruined the paper. Only half of it survived. He looks at her. Realizing her vibe matches that little girl, he asks her if, back then, she ever met a boy in the park, but she just playfully tells him to guess.
At this point, you can literally see her face light up with pure joy.
She finally understands why he did not react to her name before. The part of the note with her name had been completely destroyed. Knowing he actually remembers her, she gets a bit rebellious and refuses to give an easy answer. He teases her, saying she cannot be that girl because she is way prettier. Seeing her blush instantly, our boy just smiles like a proud winner.
After breakfast, he decides it is time to buy her a new phone.
He cannot watch over her 24 hours a day after all. Meanwhile,
He is trying to figure out how to borrow money from his mom.
buying her clothes and luxury bedding yesterday completely maxed out his credit card.
He texts his mom asking for $5,000, but she casually sends $50,000 instead.
She even texts him to date well and ask for more if he needs it. Our guy just chuckles. It looks like Swan Yi already leaked the news
About him taking a girl shopping straight to his mother. With that massive financial backup, he can confidently spoil her now.
He casually asks her if there is any place she wants to visit.
She says she wants to visit the old district park. That exact park?
Is not that where he met his childhood crush years ago? Connecting her words with her family history and her divorced parents, and remembering how she always looks away and stutters when she lies, every single detail suddenly clicks, sending a massive shockwave straight to his heart. In his past life, her tragic death completely ruined his world. He never had the peace to look back, but now it hits him.
She is literally that same little girl. He suggests they go fly a kite there.
They can grab a kite on the way and hit the food street after.
She is thrilled because she has never actually flown a kite before.
Seeing her act like an excited little kid fills his heart with pure tenderness. What is just a basic daily routine for most is a luxury to her. He quietly vows to bring back all the color she lost in her life. But first, he tells her they need to get her a phone.
After all, if she does not have a phone and something happens,
How is her creditor supposed to find her?
She hears this terrible excuse.
with a smile, Gunan Cheng nods and pushes open the phone shop's glass door.
The eager clerk pulls off the dust cover, recommending a pink phone perfect for couples. At that, Bai Wei blushes, shyly clutching the corner of her pale green dress. Gunan Cheng points right at the rosy pink phone, priced at 4,888 yuan.
Seeing her stare blankly at the price tag, Gu Nanching immediately blocks her view with his hand.
No looking at what you shouldn't, he teases. The creditor makes the rules. The clerk brings a demo phone for a selfie, the camera framing the side of his face.
Flustered, Bai Wei snaps the photo, but the camera only catches a corner of them.
He leans in and holds her hand, whispering that selfies look best at this close range. With his warm palm pressing against hers, he leans right against her cheek and snaps the picture. The screen lights up, showing her looking up slightly in the photo. His cheek rests against her hair, with the window glass reflecting their overlapping shadows. To anyone, they look like a couple taking cute, secret selfies. After buying the phone, the clerk offers a free couple engraving, so they go with GNCMM. Bai Wei looks at the letters in total confusion. The first three are his initials, GNC. But what do the last two actually stand for? As they walk out, she's so lost in thought that she almost trips over the shop door's threshold. Gu Nanchang quickly catches her in his arms, the sweet scent of her hair filling his nose. He tells the silly girl to watch her step while she begs him to just tell her. Otherwise, she'll keep obsessing over it, tugging at his sleeve in a rare, adorable pout. All right, he laughs, giving in, asking if she's actually the one who owes him money. He explains M stands for buying monsters, though it can have other meanings too.
It clicks for Bai Wei, but she suddenly thinks of a completely different translation.
Her heart starts racing as a bright blush covers her face all over again. They are so adorable, I am low-key screaming. Gu Nanchang secretly chuckles at her blushing face. She definitely thinks those two M's mean my man, and honestly, the author cooked here. He keeps quiet about it, letting her delicate, hopeful feelings bloom in secret. It makes her look incredibly beautiful as their bus rumbles towards the old city district. That's where their childhoods crossed. He gently places one earbud into her ear. He asks if she's ever heard the song Don't Cry by Zheng Jihua. She admits it's one of her absolute favorites. Suddenly, a flood of painful memories from his past life hits him. He spent endless nights listening to this song in the dark, mourning her tragic death. The lyrics about blooming like a night flower only to wither instantly felt like her exact fate. It felt like a prophecy of her doom as Lei Ting's haunting voice sings through the earbud. As Bai Wei listens closely, tears begin to silently stream down her face. Before the regression, she wanted to end her life so many times, saved only by a childhood memory. Her tears now are a quiet goodbye to that dark, lonely past. As Gu Nanchang gets lost in his own grief, a soft hand gently reaches up to touch his cheek. Bai Wei looks at him with pure, heartbreaking tenderness, just like when they were kids.
Suddenly, she wraps her arms around him tightly, her gentle warmth radiating through.
In this moment, she is identical to the little girl who once comforted him in the park. The past and present merge, and he simply lets time stand still in her embrace. Morning sunlight pours through the car window, finally chasing away all their heavy worries. Stepping out, the old district breeze carries the fresh scent of camphor leaves.
The nearby breakfast stalls and ringing bicycle bells prove nothing here has changed.
Walking into the alley to buy kites, Bai Wei looks like a curious kid. Following Gu Nanchang closely, she stops with him right at a kite stall.
She immediately spots a pink butterfly kite, and the seller asks if they want one each.
Flying two separate kites means she won't get a chance to hold his hand. The seller is totally stunned by their banter, while Bai Wei giggles shyly. All the awkwardness melts away as a gentle spring breeze sweeps over them. Gu Nanchang runs ahead with the kite, demonstrating exactly how to launch it. He speeds up, guiding her every single step of the way. The butterfly kite finally catches the wind, and Bai Wei stares up at the sky. Her eyes sparkle with a rare bright light as he asks if she wants a turn. He hands over the spool, but the wind suddenly picks up. She stumbles, so he immediately catches her in a warm embrace from behind. His warm palms cover her hands as their fingertips gently rub together.
Breathing in the sweet jasmine scent of her hair, he hears her call his name. She remembers him saying back then that clouds looked like cotton candy and wanting a taste.
Now she claims she found something that fits the description even better. Him.
It's because his sweet, gentle smile is just like cotton candy.
But right during this wholesome moment, they spot a familiar figure crouching nearby. Their friend Zhang Yan. When asked what he's doing there, Zhang Yan visibly flinches in surprise.
He laughs it off, claiming he is just waiting for a friend, but Gunan Cheng follows his gaze.
Actually, he is staring right at someone. It's a girl with a ponytail helping out at her father's barbecue stand. Gunan Cheng suddenly remembers Zhang Yan's tragic fate in his past life, and it is low-key heartbreaking. In that past life, they fell deeply in love, but her father absolutely hated him. To overcome the dad's prejudice against his bad reputation, Zhang Yan worked insanely hard and cut his hair short. Enduring the pain of removing his tattoos, he also cut off all bad influences. Quitting smoking was just the start, and he finally began dressing clean and neat. Yet, no matter how much he changed, this toxic father still refused to give him a chance. He still viewed Zhang Yan as a worthless thug, which is just so frustrating to watch. Heartbroken for him, the girl ran away from home and moved into Zhang Yan's place. Although Zhang Yan's mother was happy, she kept gently advising the girl to return home.
She wanted them to talk things out, but the toxic father refused to understand.
Instead, he brought the police to their doorstep right in front of all the neighbors. He publicly humiliated Zhang Yan, accusing him of ruining his daughter and threatening jail time. Zhang Yan's mother was already suffering from severe kidney disease and major complications. Such extreme shock and rage literally caused her to pass away on the spot. The father was completely stunned, as he only wanted to scare Zhang Yan. He never expected his actions would cost a life and ruin a perfectly good relationship. It instantly turned them into bitter enemies, and his mother was his absolute world. Blinded by sheer grief and rage, Zhang Yan almost killed the man right then and there. Even though the regretful father eventually backed down, how could Zhang Yan ever forgive him? Staying with the daughter of the man who killed his mother was impossible, so they split. It did not take long before Zhang Yan dropped out of school and completely vanished from the city. Years later, our main character runs into him in an interrogation room, but he's already a ragged wreck.
He was found living under a bridge as a homeless man who had completely lost his mind.
The crushing pain of wanting to avenge his mother's murder had completely burned away his sanity. He even forgot how to get revenge, leaving him to spend the rest of his life in madness. Just thinking back to how broken and lost he looked makes our lead's heart ache so badly. It honestly hurt just as much as seeing Bai Wei's tragic end, so he is determined to change things. Even if the murder weapon in his past life pointed straight at Zhang Yan, our guy knew it was a setup. There was no way Zhang Yan was a cold-blooded killer, and since fate granted a second chance, he refuses to let this tragedy repeat, planning to hand over the 100,000 yuan bounty directly to Zhang Yan. Getting that official endorsement from the police department is a major game changer. It will definitely wipe out most of the prejudice from the girl's father. Old Gua asks what's up, but our main character just tells him he'll explain at school tomorrow. Jiang Yan just scratches his head, looking completely confused by the whole situation. As they are chatting, another student, holding a little boy's hand, walks past them. He instantly freezes when he spots our lead, who casually greets Ye-Si, calling it a nice coincidence. Our guy asks if he is out shopping with his little brother, but Ye-Si just stares back with a blank face. Ye-Si simply nods, looking like he has no idea how he is even supposed to react here. But his little brother Ye-Shi is an absolute sweetheart, instantly waving and saying hello to Big Brother Gu. Since our main character helped his older brother before, the little kid feels super close to him. Smiling, our lead praises the good boy and gently pats Ye-Shi on the head. But hold on, because Bai Wei sharply notices that Ye-Si's gaze is looking incredibly off right now. The moment Gu Nanchang touches the little brother's head, something wild flares up in Ye-Chi's eyes. It is this uncontrollable, obsessive intensity. He is so insanely jealous of his little brother getting this close. He literally wishes he could swap places with the kid just to get that attention. The sheer force of his hidden emotions actually has him trembling right there on the street. Bai Wei is totally creeped out by this bizarre, obsessive look, unable to tell if it is pure malice or just some deeply unsettling kind of affection. But the moment Ye-Si feels her watching him, he snaps around, glare sharp enough to kill. Bai Wei is so startled she quickly takes a step back, hiding right behind our main character. She tightly clutches his sleeve for safety, prompting our lead to look up at Ye-Si.
The second their eyes meet, Yeetzy immediately pulls back all that intense, threatening aura. He instantly goes back to looking completely lifeless and dull, leaving our lead totally baffled by him.
Honestly, who knows what goes on in that guy's head, but our lead just tells them to enjoy their shopping.
Since he is full, he says he is heading out, and Yeetzy just nods awkwardly in response.
Leaning forward slightly, our lead turns to Bai Wei, asking if she's actually done eating. He reminds her that she has school tomorrow, so she needs to get to bed early tonight.
He playfully warns her that he is definitely not making any late-night snacks, which catches Yechi's ear.
Yeetzy's eyes widen in shock, and he parts his lips as if desperate to ask something. But he stays quiet, and Bai Wei quickly chimes in that she is full and ready to leave. Seeming pretty unnerved by Yechi, she grabs our lead's hand and drags him away from the busy food street.
Yeezy keeps staring after them until his little brother shakes his sleeve, calling out to get his attention.
Only then does he look down, flashing a rare, incredibly soft smile, while Bai Wei is completely stuffed. She is sprawled out on the couch, rubbing her bloated belly, so our main character sits right beside her. He gently places her hands together over her stomach, guiding them in a clockwise circle to help her digest. Watching him be so patient and caring makes Bai Wei blush. This cozy vibe makes her feel so safe.
It is way more comfortable than her toxic home, so he heads to the kitchen. He makes her some fresh lemonade, and back on the couch, Bai Wei suddenly gets anxious because years of family trauma are hard to shake.
She is terrified that this dreamlike moment is just a temporary illusion. She dreads waking up tomorrow only to face her cold, heartless house again. Sensing her distress, he walks over and gently presses his forehead against hers.
He checks her temperature, and once he is sure she is not sick,
he sits right beside her, holding the warm honey lemon tea with mint.
He scoops up a spoonful of the warm drink and brings it to her lips.
She gets super shy and tries to take the cup, but he gently refuses and insists on feeding her spoon by spoon, and with every sweet swallow, warmth flows straight to her stomach, and seeing his endless patience and gentle care brings tears to Bai Wei's eyes as her deep anxiety finally begins to melt. This level of comfort is exactly what she needed, and she sleeps peacefully tonight. She even dreams of her late grandparents and tells them with tears of joy that she finally found an incredibly amazing boy, and as the dream ends, she holds his hand while waving goodbye to her grandparents in the sky. Watching her trauma slowly heal like this is honestly the best emotional payoff. A deep, peaceful calm finally washes over her. The next morning, Bai Wei wakes up early and whips up a delicious breakfast. Watching her move around the kitchen, he notices a massive change in her energy. She is so much more cheerful and bright now, and after eating breakfast, they head out in school uniforms, and he suggests visiting her house soon to pack up all her stuff, but hearing that word home, she completely freezes up. She has absolutely no idea how to face her broken, toxic family. He squeezes her freezing hand to reassure her, telling her not to worry about her family trying to stop them because he has a solid plan.
Gu Nanchang, I really do not want to go back, she whispers, holding on tight.
Her eyes are filled with absolute trust and a desperate plea for escape.
Trust me, I will not let you, he promises, joking that she owes him now,
and cannot run away yet, which actually makes Bai Wei smile and nod. Now that she has felt true warmth, she finally has the courage to escape the dark. Talk about character development. The next day, they walk to school together, and inside the bustling classroom, as they sit down, their nosy classmate Sujin immediately slides over for some gossip. "Hey," she whispers, "I heard you two were spotted at the night market together. And it looks super romantic, is that true?" Bai Wei blushes instantly. He playfully pinches her golden cheek. "Who told you? Come on, spill the beans right now." "Ow, that hurts," she whines. "Yezi's brother Ye Shi saw you two on a date." He lets go, laughing, while a few other guys nearby overhear the juicy gossip and start teasing them, but he gives them a sharp, warning glare, which quickly shuts them up so they can focus on studying. But right then, out of nowhere, a middle-aged woman appears at the classroom door. Our boy takes one look and realizes it is actually Bai Wei's biological mother. Suddenly, Bai Wei completely freezes. She instinctively looks to our boy for help while the teacher goes to talk. The teacher then turns back and calls out that Baiwei's mom is here. He nods. She takes a deep breath. She gets up and heads outside.
Her mother puts on this fake, apologetic face to chat with Teacher Hay.
He heads back inside, leaving our boy sitting alone at his desk. He watches from the window.
Her eyes stay down, lips sealed.
She just lets her mother nag on and on without saying a single word.
Finally, her mother coldly spits out a harsh remark. Seriously, what a terrible parent.
She turns and walks away. This morning, our boy's promise finally gave Baiwei some hope.
She returns to her seat, looking totally drained.
Her mood completely plummets as she looks up at him with pure anxiety. He doesn't ask any questions. Instead, he just gives her a reassuring, meaningful smile.
She sees it. Her tense shoulders finally relax, and she slowly starts to calm down.
Sujin asks what her mom wanted, but she says it's just family stuff.
Our boy cuts in, shutting down her prying.
He promises snacks later if she behaves and studies right now.
He lightly taps Sujin's gossipy head with a rolled-up textbook.
She's safe, but his mind is spinning.
Since her toxic family shadow keeps following her, he needs a real plan.
He must secure a legitimate reason to stay right by her side.
He walks straight to the podium.
He whispers a bold request to Teacher He, who immediately frowns.
The teacher warns him to focus on school, but our boy suggests a bet.
What if he gets top 10 this week?
He wants permission to sit next to her. Top 10? His eyes instantly light up. Honestly, thankfully the guy isn't some completely rigid fossil. If a student can turn teenage crushes into pure academic motivation, that's actually a massive win in his book.
He respects the courage and agrees as long as he hits top 10.
They pinky swear right then and there. Back at his desk, he immediately rips open his English textbook.
He begins studying like an absolute madman, making his desk mates stare in horror.
No time to waste. He ignores him. This is one battle he cannot lose.
Right after class, he keeps his promise and takes the girls to the shop. Sujin grabs 10 yuan worth of snacks to avenge her pinched cheeks.
He grabs a lollipop. He hands it to her, telling her sweets will make her feel better. Remember his promise. He will handle everything after school. Baiwei takes a deep breath, holding her lollipop as she looks at Gu.
She finally gives him a real, beautiful smile, but right as they step outside,
Gu sees his best bro Zhang Yan sitting super casually on a nearby planter.
The guy is staring like a zombie at a girl helping with the barbecue.
It is the ponytail girl, Kwa Dangwan. He is so entranced, he does not even notice them.
Gu teases him. Bro, keep staring like that and you will get reported as a stalker. Zhang Yan jumps in shock, instantly stuttering out Gu's name when he sees them. He calls Baiwei sister-in-law, making her blush crazy before Gu sends the girls back to class. Gu sits right next to Zhang Yan, teasing that since he caught him red-handed, giving him some brotherly advice, Gu says winning her over takes real effort. But the real boss fight isn't the girl, it is her insanely old-school and strict dad. He will absolutely hate Jiang Yan's delinquent look, making the poor guy look instantly depressed. See, in Gua's past life, this strict dad's prejudice literally drove Jiang Yan's mom to her grave. The grief completely broke Zhang Yan, driving him into absolute madness. Since this is a regression run, Gu refuses to let that heartbreaking tragedy repeat. Gu tells him he has intel on a fugitive worth 100,000 yuan. If Zhang Yan reports it, he takes all the credit for the massive bust. With police backing and school awards, even if her strict dad complains about his style,
he can just claim he went undercover as a delinquent to help catch the bad guy.
her dad will be totally impressed, and Zhang Yan is mind blown by the play. The 100,000 bounty will be split 50-50 between them. That 50,000 will help pay his mom's medical bills and free up his time. The intel is guaranteed, so are you in? Real brothers got each other's backs. Zhang Yan is completely on board, but right as they lock in the plan, they see Kui Dangwan pluck up her courage and walk right over to them. Gu slips around the corner to watch, the 6-foot-tall school bully facing his crush. He is literally sweating like a nervous kid, stuttering his words like crazy. Turns out she once helped him out of a tight spot. She thought, the infamous school bully isn't some terrifying monster, but an adorable, stuttering softie. Seeing his bro follow her around like a loyal puppy, Gu feels like a proud dad.
But as he turns around, he spots Ye Zi standing quietly nearby. He immediately apologizes for last Friday night, asking if she is all right.
She says she is fine and hands his handkerchief back, having dry cleaned his coat.
Gua gladly takes the clean handkerchief as she promises to return his coat. He pats her shoulder, telling her she can always count on him for help. Then he heads straight back into the classroom. The second he enters, he playfully snatches the chocolate Su-jin hid in her desk.
Ignoring her loud protests, he proudly hands the final piece to Bai Wei. Bai Wei gently splits it in half, sharing a piece back with Su-jin.
Honest opinion, the wholesome, youthful energy in this room is just unmatched. Gua sits back down and checks a fax his mom just sent him. It is a housekeeper contract paying a solid 6,000 yuan a month. This comes with free room and board and 0 harmful duties. Looking at the terms, Gu lets out a massive sigh of relief. This is more than just employment. This is a custom shield to protect Bai Wei. As long as she signs this contract proving she's 18 and has enough income to live independently, her parents' guardianship will never be able to interfere or abuse her again. Since those two families couldn't give her any warmth, RMC is going to use legal means to pull her out of that dark abyss himself. Talk about a satisfying move. Once the contract is locked in, our boy! Looking at the bright sunlight outside, our boy knows a new life with Bai Wei is finally starting. But right after school, they reach the gate when things take a turn. Bai Wei suddenly freezes up. She instinctively ducks behind his back, her eyes filled with absolute terror. It is her toxic biological father, Bai Changfeng. Since she hasn't been home, her mother probably sent him after failing to find her.
He tells her, "Don't worry. Talk if you want. Otherwise, let me handle this guy."
You are safe, Bai Wei. Her pale face looks incredibly fragile, but she takes a slow, deep breath. Relaxing her tense body, she keeps walking. They completely ignore the trash dad. But of course, they barely take a few steps before heavy footsteps chase them down. Bai Changfeng calls out, "Wait, your mother says you have been missing for days. What is going on?" While demanding answers, his eyes are suspiciously scanning our main guy. Bai Wei just shakes. Speechless and terrified, she cannot say a word. But our boy does not hesitate, grabbing her freezing hand right in front of her dad. This absolute power move completely stuns the dad, while Bai Wei looks up in shock. She is terrified her father might lash out at him right then and there. Our boy just stares back, telling him that he already knows exactly what is going on. On a Friday night during a massive storm, she didn't even have a home to shelter her. He demands to know what's going on, asking who this kid even is. Classmate of the year steps up, telling the dad to let go immediately.
The dad tells him to stay away from Bai Wei, but on a stormy night like this?
He'd seriously watch his own daughter get soaked in the rain instead of letting her stay for one night? How is that even a home, honestly, against a selfish, cold-hearted hypocrite like this guy? Our boy is not showing any mercy. The dad snaps back. "Who do you think you are, kid? Who are you to lecture me? You have absolutely no right to butt into our family business. Let go right now," he yells, "or I am calling your parents and your school." I love this. Our main character actually offers to dial his parents right then and there. If the dad really wants to get lectured by them too, he is totally down.
He says he doesn't mind at all. The dad panics, threatening to call the police if he doesn't let go.
But our guy reminds him that filing false reports gets you detained. The police aren't his private bodyguards.
Telling the uncle to chill, he watches Bai Changfeng completely lose the argument and his mind.
Suddenly, the dad reaches out to grab Bai Wei by force, but our boy's eyes go completely cold.
With a quick counter, he grabs the dad's wrist, using pro-level police grappling skills from his past life. His grip strength is way beyond a normal high schooler. Bai Changfeng lets out a painful groan.
Our guy steps up and tells the toxic dad to listen up.
First, Bai Wei's custody belongs to her mom, so he has zero right to force control.
He demands the dad let go, adding that when she needed protection most,
watching her get kicked out in the storm. What right does he have to act all caring now? Plus, she is an adult.
She is fully self-sufficient now, so she definitely does not need his pathetic charity.
Anyway, they have a lunch date to catch. Our main character literally flings the dad's hand away, warning him not to pester her again. Or else he is hanging a massive shame banner right at the dad's office, telling everyone how he locked her out in the storm.
Ruin his career? Absolutely.
He completely targets this selfish guy's biggest weakness, leaving Bai Chengfeng frozen in shock.
He is totally speechless, which is so satisfying to see as they head home. On the way, Bai Wei keeps glancing at him, finding him both familiar and strangely mature.
He acts completely like a mature adult.
Our guy immediately apologizes for losing his temper and going off on her dad.
He was worried he did not consider her feelings at all and might have overstepped.
With her biological dad, he feared causing trouble.
But Bai Wei just smiles and says she is actually incredibly happy. She gently squeezes his hand, her fingers lightly brushing against his skin.
She looks down, telling him that the way he stood up to protect her was everything.
And fought for her without hesitation, even though he is just a high schooler.
But dared to confront her father face to face, she is just so grateful.
Looking up, our guy notices something heartbreaking.
She is completely covered in tears, so he pulls out a handkerchief.
Gently wiping her red eyes, he asks why she is crying if she is happy.
She stays silent, just looking at him.
And flashes the most beautiful, bright smile, letting go of all her past trauma.
These tears represent pure joy for her brand new life, making her look incredibly precious and cute.
He thinks it is healthy to cry, as long as she can smile afterward. Her long-standing emotional pain finally melts away completely. Back home, he scoops out 2 big bowls of delicious food.
It is fresh taro and pork rib rice, but she worries it is too much.
He playfully insists that her boss knows best.
He tells her to eat up, promising she can stay forever even if she gains a ton of weight.
And if she actually gets chubby, he will just act as her personal trainer. He tells her not to stress about her figure because chubby girls are way more adorable. Just like their friend Sujin, whose cheeks are incredibly fun to pinch. Bai Wei pouts, asking if that means he is going to pinch her face every day too. But our guy jokes that since she is his employee, doing that would be workplace harassment. A labor bureau lawsuit would totally ruin him. She laughs, pointing out they do not even have a contract.
Smiling, he puts down his chopsticks to prove her wrong.
He walks over to the table and slides a brand new document right in front of her. He actually had her lifetime contract ready all along, telling her to sign right after lunch. Bai Wei looks at the name on the contract in total shock, asking if he actually told his mom.
It has to be signed by him to be legally binding, so she asks if he said anything else.
He did. He warns that if she does not take good care of him, he will fire her. Especially this part. Taking care of his daily needs, like warming up his bed if it gets too cold. She has to warm it up herself, which is honestly a total scam contract. She playfully jokes that this special service costs extra, showing she is finally no longer shy around him. She is even learning to tease him, and Gunan Chang cannot help but laugh out loud. This contract of freedom is his way of keeping her safe, and honestly, we love a smart regression MC. The vibe at the dining table is so incredibly wholesome as Bai Wei stares at the papers.
She thought he was just making a casual joke, but every single clause is written so professionally.
It is scary official.
She asks if he seriously plans to pay her this salary, now that it is signed in ink.
Of course, he says, and if he skips out, she can literally sue him.
He would owe her double. That will not do.
She wants to cancel the contract right away, looking incredibly flustered and anxious. But Gunan Chang just calmly sips his milk, already 10 steps ahead of everyone else. This contract is not just playing house, he explains, as its real purpose is much bigger. It is built to protect her from her toxic parents, but her happy expression instantly drops. He instantly notices her shoulders flinch slightly at the mere mention of her toxic family. Her eyes fill with confusion. My parents? What do they have to do with this? Even though she just turned 18, without a stable income, she is still under them.
They still have absolute control over her, but Gunan Cheng smoothly pulls out Article 18 of the Civil Code.
If she has a stable income to support herself, she is legally recognized as a fully independent adult who can make her own choices.
He quickly slides his phone over with the law pulled up, making it extremely simple for her to understand.
With this job, she has every single right to make her own decisions.
She can legally block her toxic parents from forcing her into anything they want.
She can use the law. Is this true? Outsiders cannot comprehend the silent, bloodless domestic abuse she had to survive in that house.
It drove her to a complete dead end, but looking at this law, there is finally hope.
The darkness in her eyes finally clears. Guys, this emotional payoff is low-key making me tear up. He playfully tells her to sign the papers right after they finish eating their dinner. But 6,000 yuan is way too much, she protests, especially since her mother only makes 3,000 a month. She thinks she will be a terrible maid and begs him to cut the pay in half.
He calls her a silly girl, joking that he will just charge her rent to get the money back eventually.
The high number is just for show, and the cash will all stay with him anyway.
Relieved, she immediately digs into her food, suddenly eating her ribs and rice with a huge, happy smile. Every single bite tastes amazing, prompting him to tease her just a little bit more.
He admits he was joking, and she will get every single cent of that salary.
He jokes that she can pay for all their household expenses so he can experience being a kept man.
She happily agrees, promising to use her salary to support him forever.
She vows to take care of Gunan Chang for life, even offering to record a video as proof.
After eating, she signs the contract in a great mood, humming a sweet, happy melody.
She kicks him out of the kitchen, happily putting on gloves to wash all the dishes.
As the living room goes quiet, Gunan Chang suddenly remembers something big. Chen Mo remembers the soothing herbs his grandparents gave him last night. They said
Putting this under the pillow helps you sleep better, but he was so busy he forgot.
he steps into the guest room and finds the bed made absolutely flawlessly.
A faint, sweet fragrance fills the air as he walks straight toward the window. But the moment he lifts her pillow to put the herbs under, his eyes freeze. A cold fruit knife, lying quietly right under the pillow. His pupils shrink. This is crazy because this exact knife matches the murder weapon. It is a perfect match for the blade that killed her, and it is not his. Ever since Su Yuqing showed up drenched in that heavy rain, she was carrying this blade the entire time. Suddenly, countless memories and case files from his past life start exploding in his head. In the previous timeline, suicide was completely ruled out because the wound angle was totally off. But if she brought the knife, then those suspects he cleared are back on his radar. Even the street thugs. Homeless people passing by, delivery drivers, or literally anyone who just walked past her. Since she had the knife on her, anyone who was near that area that rainy night could have snatched her knife and killed her. This is actually crazy.
Everything he knew is totally overturned. Suddenly, she stammers from the doorway, trying to explain.
She is standing right there, watching him hold her pillow in complete stunned silence. As soon as she sees the exposed fruit knife on the bed, absolute panic and terror flood her eyes. Terrified of his reaction, but Chen Mo tells her she does not need to explain.
He says it is totally fine for a girl alone to have some self-defense tools.
Pulling her into a tight hug, he feels just how tense and helpless she really is. But behind his calm eyes, Chen Mo is frantically piecing together his past life's clues. He is putting the massive puzzle together, swearing that in this life, he will save her.